Hello my BariTale fam, and welcome back to a new video. A quick behind the scenes. It is currently snowing outside, which is a magical treat here on Cape Cod in the winter. We are on day 3, curly girl hair, as I answer your hot pressing questions about weight loss surgery, GLP-1s, semaglutides. You didn't hold back. Earlier this week, I put out an Ask Me Anything, the first one of 2025, both on Instagram, YouTube, and actually on Facebook too. I do this a few times a year, and because it is January, a fresh year, a fresh start, I thought, what pressing questions do you have that I can answer here for you, and we can snuggle up and be cozy and safe and answer these questions together. If you are a newbie to the channel, hey, I am Chelsea. I'm a VSG patient of 5.5 years. I've lost and maintained the loss of around 100 pounds. We will talk more about my weight in this video. If you are looking for bariatric coaching, bariatric support, a beautiful community, oh my gosh, you should see the comments. They are amazing here. I hope you will consider subscribing and joining us for the new year. Full disclosure, I was supposed to make this video with my sister, my bariatric bestie, Mallory, who I know is your favorite person on this channel. I do not take offense to that, but life circumstances got in the way. Don't worry, she will be back. So if you're waiting for Mally, subscribe. She's coming soon. I will be reading your questions off of my phone, but I will also pop the question up on the screen here in its raw detail. Let's get started. The first question says, hi there, I'm 7 months post-op right now. My question, did you ever find yourself getting off track or being too loose with your plan? If so, how did you rein it back in and get back on track? What a perfect time of year to answer this question. The short answer to this question is yes, absolutely. I have been off track more times than I can count. What I mean by off track is that I have pushed my priorities, my lifestyle priorities off to the side and sacrificed what I know I need to do for myself for something else, whether that's time convenience, whether that's fun, and sometimes feeling like I have a normal stomach even though I don't. Has it bothered you that one sleeve was cuffed and one was not? Apologies. I just did an entire video on 2025 bariatric lifestyle tips and hacks that I will leave here linked for you. But what I do to rein myself back in is first, I acknowledge that I've been off track for however long. Now, every day I do my own set of affirmations where I include affirmations about bouncing back. I want to make sure that you're aware that after bariatric surgery, this is not a magical surgery fix where poof, you are going to release all of your limiting beliefs, all of your dietary mindset restrictive beliefs, all of your negative habits simply because your stomach's been rerouted or it's a smaller size. So falling off track is a natural part of this process. You're not expected to be perfect. What's more important is how quickly you bounce back. And that's where my daily affirmations come in. I plan out scenarios where I might feel overwhelmed or stress or anxiety or rushed. And what actions did former Chelsea, bigger bodied Chelsea, used to take? Right? Those actions were very much based on convenience and comfort. So things like, if I felt rushed and stressed, I was definitely eating fast food for dinner. And earlier this week, actually, while my daughter was at a swimming lesson and I had client meetings and I had a to-do list a mile long, I thought, okay, in the morning while I was on my walking pad, and if you follow me on Instagram, I am obnoxiously posting every morning walk I'm taking there. I'm thinking through with my affirmations, what does the day look like? What do I need to get done? And what happens when I feel that urge to say, you know what? I'm not going to make dinner because I'm too tired. What can I do in advance to prep for that? So in the morning before I left for work, I prepped dinner. So that way when I came home, I didn't feel the need to stop at a drive-thru. Not that that would necessarily be a derailing bad thing, but I don't want to make it a habit like it used to be. I know I'm long-winded. I'm so sorry about that, but I'm trying to give you realistic examples and scenarios that I hope resonate with you. When I work with my clients, I also build with them what I call the fail plan. And I know that sounds really negative, but what I mean by that is every week I weigh myself. And when I get on the scale and I don't see a number that I expected to see, I don't tie any emotion to that. It's simply a data point that's taken some years to come to. And then from there, I literally have a numbered step Google Doc of here is what I do when I don't see the number I expect to see. What's number one on my bounce back plan? So to tie this into real life, this is my client notebook. Isn't it pretty? It's from Disney World, obviously. And recently, in her 7th session together, she shared with me that she had been to a checkup with a nutritionist and that she had gained 4 to 5 pounds. Not in a month, but over a period of time, particularly around the holidays. And she's more than a year out of surgery. So we came up with her fail plan. So we have a 6-step plan for her that she now has. So when she gets on the scale and sees a number that she doesn't expect to or that she doesn't like, she has her first step. Her first step is measuring her food. It's the food scale, tracking her food, and her snacking. That is not my first step because all of those are huge triggers for me. My first step is water. Do I increase my water 10, 20, or 30 ounces per day to try to flush out what's going into my body? So for you, if we were working together, what would be on your first step? What would your 3 to 5 step checklist be to get yourself back on track? And then how do you execute that? That's where I think having a support community comes into play because my client is accountable to me and I to her. So we work together to make sure that we in fact do take these steps and then we check in week to week. So who is going to do that for you? A teensy tiny little plug, okay? Bear with me. This week, I have 2 free masterclasses. I've been talking about these pretty incessantly, at least that's how it feels to me, because I want to be able to help as many people as I can in this industry. So my masterclasses, not only are they free, they are live. There's one on Tuesday and one on Thursday. There was also one this morning that it has now happened already by the time you're watching this video. So there's 2 left this week for this season. In this masterclass, the whole purpose of it is to talk about transformative weight loss through surgery or a semaglutide in terms of how to overcome your own emotional binge eating. So if you're struggling with that, pre or post-op, or you're about to be on a GLP-1, or you're already on one and you're feeling those emotional cravings, please join me. It's an hour long. There's 40 to 45 minutes of direct instruction to you, and then a 15 to 20 minute window where you can ask me all of your questions live. I hand-selected questions today based on you and what I thought would be most appropriate for a group of people, but you can come to these sessions and ask me your own personal questions. So I will leave the link to sign up in the description box below, but it's also an awesome place to start finding your support community. Question number 2, what are your go-to on plan? Since we're talking about plans, I thought this transitioned nicely. Snacks, sweet and savory. Are you on the turn cottage cheese into everything bandwagon? While I actually do like cottage cheese, no. I don't find myself buying it as a snack or an ingredient all that often. Actually, my husband's at the grocery store right now. I'm gonna ask him to add it to the list because it's been a while. So my on-plan snacks are always going to be, or likely always going to be, savory because I believe an on-plan snack is essentially anything that starts with protein. And mine are super simple. I'm not a gourmet chef. I don't have a ton of time to prep out snacks to go. I don't have just containers of snacks. Those really pretty refrigerators on TikTok. I don't have the capacity for that. So my snacks tend to be pre-packaged and ready to go already. Full disclosure, my favorite post-op snack is string cheese. But I like a mix and match snack plate. I don't always like to just take one thing of string cheese. I don't feel like that's fulfilling for me. So for me, I think of like little kid snacks, right? It's one string cheese that I'll either eat by pulling it apart with half of an apple cut up and a tablespoon or two of peanut butter. Like, that's such a sweet little plate and very easy to put together. I just ordered crinkle cutters off of Amazon for apple slices for both me and my daughter, so they look like French fries, but they're not. I also like to cut up my string cheese into little rounds and eat it with toothpicks to make it feel fancier and last longer. I also like boiled eggs, hard-boiled eggs that might not be a snack that you're into, but I like them with the everything but the elote seasoning from Trader Joe's. So I will have like a hard-boiled egg, half of a cucumber sliced up with a tablespoon of ranch dressing. I like as a snack, and this one tends to be more on the sweet side, like a cup or a half of a cup of Greek yogurt. I like vanilla, I like plain, I really like the honey one. And then I will add in some granola on top of that, whether that's homemade or like the peanut butter granola from Trader Joe's, maybe with a little dried fruit. And when I'm really like habit stacking and on top of things, that seed mix on top includes chia seeds too. I like this after dinner as like a dessert. You could also take a cheese stick and wrap a slice or two of like sliced turkey or ham or whatever your favorite type of like deli meat-ish type of food is around that cheese stick. So you're getting like a mini sandwich, and then I like to dunk mine in a mustard. So I'm like a sauce queen. I basically eat food for the purpose of the sauce. So if there is a honey mustard, a ranch, a blue cheese, a sour cream, a salsa, whatever, a hummus, I am dipping something in it to get that protein in, but the whole purpose is for that sauce, which is why I do need to measure it out in advance because I will eat the whole tub. I like, on the sweeter side also, the dark chocolate covered pistachios from Trader Joe's are so good. Essentially any like handful of nuts that you could then sprinkle a little bit of chocolate into, whether that's like tiny chocolate chips or even the little baby M&Ms. Like making yourself a homemade trail mix of sorts can be an awesome snack, super easy. You could keep it in a container and just like scoop out a little bit to go. And if you're looking for like a real type of dessert, you can add protein powder into almost any baking mixed. I like to mix my chocolate protein powder, which I shared earlier on Instagram this week. It's the Vita Hustle one right now that I like. Not affiliated in any way, just the one I'm currently using. It's like a dark cacao powder, but it also has adaptogens in it, which I love. So I will scoop that into, like, if I'm making a chocolate pudding, I'll just mix that right in. You can't taste it. It's already chocolate. You could mix it into like a brownie mix, a cake mix, whatever that may be, or even those like brownies in a mug. My daughter likes to make those. I don't feel the need for them, I guess. I'm not like a sweets girl. I would so much rather eat cheese in almost any circumstance. So those are my favorites. I also think that there is a company, and I don't know the name of it, they make like mini mozzarella balls in a tiny like to-go pack. That with a skewer with like cherry tomatoes and a balsamic drizzle. Chef's kiss. I love that so much. If you have any suggestions with really good snack ideas, please leave them in the comments because snacking is a part of a healthy recovery process. In the very beginning, you will not be able to snack at all. You're going to be focused on just getting your protein goals in, especially when you turn to like soft foods, mush foods, and then after 90 days, kind of all the foods. But I do think that keeping yourself satiated in between meals is really important, and finding workable snacks that help you achieve those goals is possible. New year, new you. Curious about your thoughts on injectables, semaglutides, etc. post VSG. Thank you for all you do. I think this is going to be the issue of weight loss surgery of the year, and I 100% support whatever it is that you need to do in order to keep yourself thriving and healthy after weight loss surgery. If you don't know what we're talking about here with a GLP-1 or a semaglutide, these are weight loss medications. Most of them are designed to regulate blood sugar. If you are within your first year of weight loss surgery and you're hitting the very dreaded weight loss stalls, which are totally normal, they're healthy for your progress, your hormones are balancing, I would not immediately turn to a semaglutide or a GLP-1 during a stall. Because the stall will break. There are things you can do. I will leave videos up for you. We work through a lot of the stall portions in my student courses as well as in my client work. That's a lot of the focus, is like, how do I break a stall and then prevent the next one? Or how do I break a stall and what are the strategies that I need to use in the future to break other stalls? We talk about that a lot one-on-one because so much of that is based on where you are in the process, your current weight, what your previous weight was, your pre-existing health conditions, and so on. So I can't give generic overall advice on this is exactly how you personally should break your stall unless we're working together. I hope that makes sense. But in terms of long-term maintenance, if you are 2 years-ish plus out and you're finding that you haven't reached your weight loss, your reasonable weight loss goals. If you haven't lost in that like 60 to 70% range and you still want to, this is an option. It's also helpful for if you're feeling those like out of control cravings. It is not going to solve them for you long term. So this is where the like asterisk comes into play. I think these are a wildly helpful tool for getting you where you need to go, but I don't think they're a lifelong tool. And my fear is that when and if you come off of a semaglutide, do you know how to cope with the cravings? And if that is something that you're struggling with, again, the cravings, the emotional eating, the binge eating, the stress eating, please come to this masterclass because I'm going to give you some strategies to help you overcome that without a weight loss medication. But that doesn't mean that paired, like your mental mindset, health, and strategies paired with a GLP-1 or a semaglutide after surgery are a powerhouse for long-term weight loss success. But I don't know if every single person post-op needs it. I'm not on one. I've been successful. I have regained weight, but not more than the average or normal threshold from my lowest weight. And I'm still over 100 pounds down from my original weight 5 years later. So I don't think these are necessary for everyone. I do think they are a wildly helpful tool. That being said, I worry post-op that there's not enough research about a lack of nutrients in your system. Like one of the highlights of a GLP-1 or a semaglutide is your loss of appetite, right? Like that's what makes you eat less so that you lose more weight. However, if you're already eating within your protein and calorie intake, if you eat less than that, you are losing nutrients, and we cannot afford to lose nutrients. So that's just one of my like concerns. It's the risk of oversuppression, which sounds like a good thing if you're someone who is challenged by food noise, but it can be harmful too. You can get rid of that food noise. You can get rid of that food noise. Sarah asks, do you have a guide or reference form for your supplements in a file, a pic, a PDF? This is a great question. I've done so many videos on my vitamins and supplements, especially like throughout my weight loss journey at various stages, but I don't think I've ever put together a file or a form. Maybe that is a freebie that I can put together in the new year. And I would love to say, Sarah, I've solved your problems and I have that for you right now. I don't, but I do have a graphic of what your multivitamin needs to include. And while that's up on the screen, I'm going to tell you about the other things you need too. So the vitamin schedule is as follows. You need to take a multivitamin in the morning and a multivitamin in the evening because we can no longer do that slow release in our tummies. Now, the exception to that rule is there are now bariatric all-in-one vitamins that I feel like they're bariatric all-in-ones, if that makes sense, because there still are additional supplements and vitamins that I feel like my body needs based on my own blood work. So I do take one multivitamin in the morning, and then I don't take one before bed because I'm taking a bariatric one, but I add to it. You will also need a calcium or a calcium citrate. I take a calcium citrate because I had kidney stones, allegedly. When I was pregnant with my daughter, they couldn't do all of the scans because I was fully pregnant pregnant, like 8 months pregnant with her. So I take a citrate, and your calcium citrate should be between 1,200 to 15 milligrams daily. Now, the catch with calcium is that you can't take it at the same time you're taking your multi, because your multi has iron in it. And in order for both of those to absorb appropriately, you need to space them out. So I do multivitamin in the morning with my protein breakfast, whether that's going to be my bone broth, my tea with protein powder, whatever that first hot liquid is, I take my multi with that. And then I bring my calcium citrate and I take those at lunch, because that is more than 2 hours later. I've taken actually both types of calcium, just regular calcium and calcium citrate. I have found that calcium citrate does a better job absorbing into my system than regular calcium. Perhaps that is because of the kidney stones, but that's my own lived experience. The iron should be in your multi, but the goal is to get 45 to 60 milligrams of iron in your system daily. So in my multivitamin, I'm getting some of that, but not all of it, but I'm getting the rest of my iron from food. I also take a vitamin B12 in the morning to help with my energy. You could take a B1, which is going to have thiamine in it, and that is going to help with your hair loss, your skin, your nails. I take a biotin supplement for that. I love magnesium in the evening to help me like soften into sleep. I take an ashwagandha. I'm testing out a lot of different supplements. If you have any additional supplement questions, please leave them in the comments or come to the masterclass and you can ask me live. Post-op, when can you go back to the gym, lifting weights and ab work? First of all, congratulations on wanting to go back to the gym. I myself am not a gym goer. I have tried. I have done every trendy gym option available. I've been to like a basic Planet Fitness. I've done Crunch when I lived in LA. I've done Orange Theory. I've done one that doesn't even exist anymore with trackers. Oh man, what was that called? I can't remember the name of that type of gym. It was when I lived in Rockland. I've done women's only gyms. I've done personal fitness, like one-on-one appointment gyms. I've done aquatic gyms. I've done them all. I hate them. I hate them. So I congratulate you on wanting to go back. That's not to say I dislike moving. I don't. You know, I like my hot yoga. I like some parts of Pilates. I love walking. I love strength and resistance training, but I like to do that all from the comfort of my own home and typically in my pajamas bright and early in the morning. Now, I will tell you that right after surgery, you are immediately cleared for things like walking. When I say things like walking, I just mean walking. For the first 1 to 2 weeks, you are not going to be able to lift anything that's more than 15 pounds. Like I couldn't pick up my daughter to bring her from downstairs to upstairs to put her to bed. In your 3rd and 4th weeks, the goal is to like increase your cardio movement, aka stretching your muscles gently. Again, walking pretty exclusively. You are in full recovery mode. There's no gym going for the first month, period. In that 5th week, or even as early as in your 4th week, depending, if you are cleared by your surgeon. If you're cleared by your surgeon, you can start light cardio activities. We're talking stationary biking, perhaps the elliptical, the treadmill, something gentle, but no ab work yet. You could even do some light lifting with your arms, your legs. I know that your abs are included in everything, but you're not targeting your abs. I remember trying to attempt planking in my 5th week and it was too soon. So I really focused on like my upper body and my lower body, but I didn't use weights yet because you've lost a lot of muscle at this point. So I simply was using my body weight. Typically, it's in weeks 8 to 12. Again, I know that's a huge range, but it's very dependent on the person and how active you were prior. You can start incorporating some type of light ab work. Now, the focus on really like eliminating your abs as an area for working out after surgery is because you're healing. And even though by week 8, you're gonna feel amazing. You're gonna feel fully healed. Your inner tummy hasn't. So I would recommend like waiting on that one. Like I think I waited probably 5 or 6 months before I was like, I'm gonna do planks, I'm gonna do crunches. And maybe that's too long for you. But for me, I just wanted to make sure everything was fully settled, was fully healed. I was scared of like causing a tear and leaking and needing to go back into the hospital because I tend to catastrophize things. That's not a normal circumstance, but I waited for quite some time. But I really like to include stretching. Like hot yoga has been fantastic for me from that like kind of 3-month point forward. But I didn't walk into a 60-minute class. Like I built up to that because your stamina is also going to have taken a hit. So just things to consider. And the last question of the day is one that I rarely share and have been asked more over the past 3 months than I ever have before. And it is, what was your original weight? I feel like I need to give you some context for this, okay? So I am 5'2", and I often lie and say I'm 5'3" or 5'2.5" with shoes on. Perhaps I am, but I'm not with my bare feet. I am 100% Portuguese. I come from an obese family, so there are genetics at play here too. My original weight feels like a tricky question because there's the weight that I went into my consultation with, there's the weight from the day of surgery, and there's my highest weight. Like those are all different things. So when I sought out the consultation where I went in incognito, and I think I've told you this before, that I walked in and, as I always did, scanned the room for bigger bodies than mine, right? Looking for anyone fatter than me, and found, oh, I am the smallest person, or one of, in this room. I don't need to be here. This isn't for me. Like everyone else was so much heavier than I was. So obviously super pre-surgery judgmental Chelsea thought, I don't need to be here. And then when the surgeon started talking about statistics and who the surgery was meant for, I was like, turns out that person was me. So I walked into that room weighing around 250 pounds. Now on a 5'2" frame, that's a lot. That's a bigger bodied person. And I carried it well. I did a great job of hiding it. That's what I went into to my consultation as. The day of surgery, I weighed 235 pounds because as a prerequisite for my insurance and my surgical center, I had to lose a certain amount of weight in order to qualify for surgery. So at that point, I was on a very restrictive diet. I was moving quite a lot. I was also on phentermine, which I absolutely hated because I wasn't able to sleep, but it was supposed to like increase your metabolism to get you to burn more calories. So I was on some like pretty extreme measures of weight loss to get to 235. My highest weight, however, and I don't usually share this because I feel like it is personal, but since I was directly asked, and this is a Q&A, and I want to be transparent with you, my highest weight was 277 pounds. So when I categorize like how much weight I've lost, I go from my highest weight. And that was actually a request of one of my clients because she would say, you always tell me that you haven't met your 100-pound goal. And that makes me feel like I haven't met mine because you go by the day of surgery and not your highest weight. So if I'm looking at like where I was to where I am, I don't even have any pictures of myself at 277 pounds because it was like hard for me to move. It hurt to wake up. I was so agitated at everything throughout the course of the day. I was so deeply ashamed and disgusted with myself. Like, if I could see my face on camera, like I would burst into tears. Like that girl was so sad. She was so sad. And I'm just grateful to be a different version of her. And when I think about days where I am not seeing the data that I want to see, or where I get into a bathing suit and I'm like, oh shoot, look at all this loose skin, or I downplay my own successes, I like have to go back in my mind and think about how she felt and try to tell her like, it's gonna be okay. We're gonna be okay. Look at where we've come. Sorry, I didn't mean to get emotional. That inner healing journey is very real. But just reassuring her, like, look at what we get to do now. Because of this surgery, because of this lifestyle, because of the habits that you were strong enough to adopt, and because of how brave you were to invest in yourself and take that leap. So, yeah, that is the first time I'm sharing that number here with you. So do with it what you will, but I have lost well over 100 pounds if we're going by the 277. And I want that for you too. I want you to feel capable and strong and victorious and have these inner healing moments where you too can pull your younger self by the hand and say, baby girl, we're good. We did it. So if you're on that journey, if that resonates with you in any way, please join my masterclass, please. I think if anything, you're going to get an hour's worth of really good free material out of it. But on top of that, I feel deeply connected to those who come, and I get to answer your questions and interact with you in real time. It's such a joy and a blessing for me. So selfishly, I hope you come, but I also hope you come for yourself. The link for that will be in the description box below. I love you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for asking me questions. Thank you for continuing to watch and being a part of this journey with me. I know it's me sitting here talking to you via camera, but I also know that I feel your presence. And when I'm making decisions about where to go in my life and what to do next and what work I want to pour myself into, you are the ones in my head. You are the ones I'm thinking about. So I adore you and I love you, and I hope your 2025 is off to an amazing start. I know that there are some pretty terrible things happening in the world, and I hope that this channel can be a place of joy and safety for you. All right, my friends, go save your seat. Go get yourself a spot in the masterclass for Tuesday and Thursday. I will see you this week if this is when you're watching. Otherwise, I will see you same time, same place next week. I love you. Have a magical week. Goodbye, my bestie.